It says I'm live, but I don't know if I'm streaming. There we go. Hi, it's Shar with another edition of Insider's Secret. How do you see through narcissistic abuse and kind of the different stages that go? Woo, do I got a story for you. You're not going to believe this one. And it has everything to do with double lives. And I think that narcissistic abuse, it's all about kind of leading a double life, but sometimes it gets the double life or their desires get so loud that they actually have to create two different existences. And this is a reality, and it's a true story. It's a recent true story that I want to share with you. So I have been single for a while, decided that, you know what, maybe I'm going to step into the dating world again, and took my time to create a very thorough profile, put pictures on there, and really spent a lot of time in making sure that I'm painting an accurate picture of who I am and what I'm looking for. And within a short amount of time, I had a gentleman reach out to me, and the one thing that I did that went against anything I ever said I would do was that I would not talk with somebody who had a profile that was not public with the images, because typically people who are married or cheating will create these online singles profile and they'll take their pictures down or not show their pictures unless they just reach out to you direct, and then they'll send them, so they're not out there for everyone to see because they're married or they're cheating on someone. So this particular person had reached out to me and had no public pictures, but it said the reason why was because he was very successful, had a local business, didn't want employees to know, and he had been married to somebody very prominent in one of the cities that were nearby, and he just really wanted to be very discreet, and I believed him, kinda. Let me tell you what, this man was toeing the line. He was amazing, charming, questions listened, evaluated. I mean, I was on the phone with him once, running around, running errands, and I am addicted. Please don't tell me that this isn't good for me, because I know that, but I'm still addicted to it. To this Mio, it's called Vanilla Orange. Tastes like sherbet. Anyways, I'm addicted to it. Can't find it anywhere. And I'm on the phone with him, and he was like, you know what? There's a Hy-Vee right here. Why don't I just run in and I'll grab some for you? And so I at first said no, but then eventually was like, okay, we'll let him do this for me. And so sure enough, they had it. He didn't just buy one, he bought all of them. He showed up at my doorstep with 9, which I thought was very charming. And kind of won some brownie points with that. And this man was doing a very good job of dating me. We were going to movies, nice restaurants. One morning I woke up and my favorite coffee was on my front porch. And so he was doing a very, very, very nice job, almost overly nice. And sent me a beautiful bouquet of flowers because he was getting ready to go out of town, and had sent me this stunning bouquet of flowers, and my favorite flowers too, because he in his past, he has a history with flower stores, or he's been a flower vendor, and wanted to know what my favorite ones were. So when I opened it, and here are my 2 favorite in combination, it's very, very, very beautiful. Another brownie point. And I mean, when we were out and about, we were not a secret. He didn't try to hide me. We were going to the movie theaters. We're just jotting around, running errands. And I would have no clue to think. I mean, I've gone over to his house and had a couple meals. He's come over to my house. This is just normal dating that had happened. And I remember there were a few things throughout that was kind of, I wonder about that, but I didn't think too much about it. For instance, he was very detailed on some of his exes, but I had gone to Facebook and searched for his name. And instead of looking at people, I looked at photos, and I discovered some pictures from another woman that were tagged from the prior year that he didn't talk to me about her. I didn't know her significance. And so when we were together that evening, I brought her up and said, hey, what about this woman? And there was no flinching or anything without a flaw. He just said that, you know what, it was somebody he dated, and that she's always going to be very important to him, and but she has gone back to her ex. This woman had children, and that she'd gone back to an ex, and that until the day he dies, they were going to be best friends. And so no senses or anything went off on any of that. Actually, the things that were kind of going off in my mind So I've been dating this guy for about 4 weeks. It's coming up on Valentine's Day. And what we hadn't done anything really intimate, had, you know, just spent a lot of time together, shared a lot of stuff, and was really enjoying and getting to know him. And I was planning on making him I was going to cook for him for Valentine's Day, which is not something I do. It is a treat, and kind of wanted to get out of the public sight and just kind of enjoy some one-on-one time with him. And so the day before, I just, in the middle of meditation, had just plugged into, you know, what is this? What am I missing? I feel that there was something that I didn't know about him. And I had actually even asked him, hey, listen, I'm just feeling there's still something I don't know about you. Is there anything you want to share? And he didn't share anything. And it was just, there were some slight things that weren't adding up. For instance, I do a lot of business at Starbucks, and he would come and meet me, and he doesn't drink Starbucks, but when I visited his house, he had a Keurig. And so I'd asked him, I said, you know, for somebody who doesn't drink coffee, why do you have a Keurig? And he, without hesitation, had an acceptable excuse that, you know what, but they have hot cocos and teas, and I believed that and just kind of moved past it. And there was just, hindsight is always clear, but at the time, there really wasn't much that I could have missed. So on Valentine's morning, my gut was still kind of unsettled and wasn't really sure what was going on, and wasn't, there was just something more there. There was something that I was not getting, and I didn't know what it was. So I just kind of meditated and thought, what do I need to do to get to the bottom of this? And something inside me, I think it's God or your gut, whatever you want to call it, had said for me to have a girlfriend call one of his exes. Because I had another friend who had said that to me, and I thought, God, you know what, if this guy is this great, I don't want to upset anything. I don't want to cause any problems. I don't know where his relationship is with these exes, if they're going to cause a lot of problems. So I didn't want to be the one to reach directly out, but inside of me it was have a girlfriend do it. So I had a girlfriend. I called a girlfriend of mine and said, you know, I've got a crazy request that I'm going to ask you to do, but there's just something in me, I don't know what it is, that says I need to have this part done. I think he's going to come over tonight, we're going to celebrate Valentine's Day, and I think I'm going to start getting some feelings for him, and before I get to that point, I want to make sure I check into it. He's worthy of me doing that. And so I just kind of gave her that, gave her his name, and gave her a few of his exes on social media to reach out to, and knew that she would take care of it and she'd check in with me if there was anything that needed to be checked into. Well, tell you what, halfway through the day, I was actually back-to-back meetings. She is blowing up my phone. I can't really get apart long enough to see what she's doing, but by the time I do, I find out that he was engaged. And he has been for a while. For about 2 years, he was with another woman. It was actually the woman whose photos I saw on social media. And this other woman has children that aren't his biologically, but they have called him stepdad. And I mean, this is a very developed life. And through talking with her, I found out that, I mean, when I visited his house, there was no clues of their existence at all. He had taken hours to stage this house and had hidden things in closets, had tucked things away in cabinets, and had moved things. And I mean, this isn't somebody that I had known or dated very long, so it's not like I'm going to go snooping through closets or go looking through cabinets. I will now. Now I'm always going to do a little peek because that will be part of who I am. But at the time, you know, she was asking me, how did I not see a canvas on a wall? And I was like, there was none of that there. This house had nothing to let me think that this man was anything but single. And I mean, there was surprise little, hey, I've got a few hours during the day, can we get together? And he would drop everything to come and see me. And I mean, it was just, that's kind of what really got on my radar. And the sad thing through all of this is that this guy is getting better with every experience, just better and better and better, because he was flawless in his execution of dating me. And so that just means that there'll be another one, because they don't stop. They don't see that what they're doing is wrong at all. They see that this is an acceptable way to get out of one relationship and into another. And I don't even know how he thought he was going to pull all of this together. But I know as soon as I found out, I had sent him a message that basically said, I need to get this from you, and I'll give this back to you. And then blocked him on all social media, blocked his phone. I don't ever want to hear or see from this person again, all right? Because I was maybe 30 days in, so it's not like there's a lot of emotion, but in the meantime now, I am becoming very good friends with the woman that he was engaged to, because we know that he's got good taste in women, because he liked me, he's like, and so of course those women are gonna like each other, but this woman is completely devastated. Her children are devastated. Her family is devastated. Her entire world crumbled, and of all days, it crumbled on Valentine's Day, that she had to find this all out. And I actually met her over at the house later that same day. So she got to walk in and kind of see what I saw when I was visiting the house and how it was staged. And, you know, she was like, Shar, there was just stuff in this closet, and had you open this drawer? And it was like, I didn't know this person that well to do that. So the whole point of this video is to kind of let you know how this process happens, and to how do you keep an eye out for it. And there is actually quite a few websites out there, and I believe that this person in particular had visited some of the brainwashing techniques and strategy websites of how to test and how to twist and how to turn things, because he was always a step ahead. They're very good at keeping quiet, and they actually crank it up. If they realize that there's a problem in a relationship, they're going to be extra attentive or extraordinary in how gentlemanly are, how much they service or spoil you, and kind of going overboard so that your radar, it kind of falls off your radar. They usually will have multiple websites or multiple personalities, separate email addresses for all of them. They're going to log off computers entirely, so that when you go there, you know, like if you were at my home and you go to my Facebook, it's typically always logged into me because it's just me that's here. But when they are on computers and stuff, they'll log off of them, or they'll keep very little online activities, or they'll keep offline altogether. I know this person that I had dated, his Facebook didn't have a whole lot of anything on it. There just was very vanilla. There wasn't a whole lot of sharing of life. I know when I had asked, you know, who are best friends and who are this, usually we get together with these people and there's occasions and holidays and pictures that are shared. He didn't have any of those on his social media sites. Red flags is people who try to move fast and don't respect your boundaries. And I know when I was around him, he was very attentive to what was going on my phone, but I didn't see his phone. And I don't have anything to hide, so I just kind of kept my phone out there and was noticing how he's watching what I'm doing. He was very, very attentive on that. He's very secretive and not, I mean, if he was overly secretive, it would have caused something to me, but I just knew that, like, his phone was not ever anything that was just laying around. It was always around, but it was face down, and there was just, it seemed like a lot of secretive, conversations, or he had to dismiss himself to go have a conversation that he could have easily had sitting next to me. He doesn't share a lot of details. He doesn't go very deep in his stories on past relationships. He doesn't have long-term relationships. And so those best friends and, you know, hanging out with them and wanting you to be around them, that's not an opportunity that happens, because they typically cycle through people very quickly. And as a diversion, they're going to shower you with attention and gifts and trips. And I mean, this person had offered to do breast implants for me, which didn't know that was on the menu, but had just really aligned and listened to some things that I had been wanting to do, and was really trying to over spoil me, if you will. There's unexplained downtimes, or just, you know, it's contrary to what he had said before. Like when we first met, he had said that he usually works Saturdays till noon, but when I was with him, he was working Saturdays till 3 or 4. Well, now I know it's because he was going to be with her from noon until 3 or 4, and then he was coming to be with me. Things don't add up, kind of like the coffee thing, where he had said that he doesn't drink coffee, but I go to his house and there's a Keurig, and when I had asked him why it was there, he had said it was because his employees meet at his house, but actually in a later conversation he told me that he doesn't like having employees over his house. And so he forgets, sometimes they forget their lies and they forget how they connect together, and those things are things that you really, really need to pay attention to. And most importantly, if he's on a dating website, there's no photos. If they don't have any public photos, don't talk to them I don't care how successful you are. I'm incredibly successful and I have a very visual presence and I've got a lot of people that I lead, but I'm single, so I could be on websites like that. There should be no problem with it. I think that not being as open when you first meet somebody, like an open book to kind of let them know about us and just see how much they're willing to share. Do a give and take as far as if they're willing to go that deep, then you can go that deep, but let them lead with their own experiences first. And so how do you spot this? How do you know this is something you should check into? Because this guy was really, really, really good at trickery. And so first and foremost, allow yourself time to get quiet and meditate and not constantly be under the barrage that they're creating in your world, be it good or bad, because once they're done courting you, then they're going to just start creating chaos and overwhelming you with bad stuff, so that you don't ever get that down, quiet time to reconnect with yourself and trust your gut. So if there is something that is going on inside of you that is not feeling at peace or at rest, I know I had actually stayed an overnight at his home and I couldn't get to sleep and I couldn't understand why I could not get to sleep. I know what that was now. There was another person's presence and energy in that area, and it wasn't something I'm familiar with identifying. I'll know it going forward if it ever happens again, but at that time I'd never felt that before, and so it was unsettling to me and I couldn't understand what was going on. Something else you might do is when they give you a cell phone number, you can go up to Facebook and put somebody's phone number in there and see if it's attached to a profile. If it's not, why isn't it? Because today in this world, most people have it attached to something, so it's going to come up. Facebook is the most common reverse web search that you can put. If they're using a spoof number, why are they using a spoof number? If they're being legit, why do they have to give you something that's not legit? Also, when you're searching Facebook, you might go up and type their name, and instead of just clicking for people, go through and see what comes up under photos, videos, pages, places, groups, and see what comes up. Because had I not done that, I wouldn't have ever found this other woman, because he did a really good job on his post of never letting her come through because he had to approve it. And so if you're dating somebody who doesn't let you openly post pictures with them, that's probably a pretty good sign they're hiding something. Because if they're with you and they don't mind people knowing. But there was nothing that was coming through. Now I could share, I think from her point of view looking at his Facebook, it looked like she could see that. You guys, you can always do you can always open up, let me see what it's called, an incognito window and search for these things and see how somebody's coming up without them being tied to you. Or go and have a friend that isn't friends with them yet. Search and see what comes up and see if it's different. If it's different, that's not normal. That is not good. There's something going on there that you need to check into, okay? Could it be that they're a good guy and they just don't know their settings? Yes, it very well could be, but it's worth asking the questions before you get more emotionally involved in 2 years down the road. So click Facebook and search for photos, search for videos, connect the dots, do a Google search on them. Go to, I know here in Iowa, we have Iowa Courts Online. You can see if the house is linked to, if there's a house linked to somebody, if the stories add up. Be a little nosy, but most importantly, trust your gut. I know from the beginning, this person had told me a story about how he's got a business partner that's a convicted felon, and to protect him in business so that he could still get money, everything's in this person's name and not the convicted felon's name, so that he doesn't have to pay money back to people he's ripped off. Really pay attention to who people are aligning themselves with and how they're presenting themselves to the world, because if he would do that to trick some other people, don't think that they wouldn't do something like that to trick you. Because when you have nothing to hide, you don't hide anything. It's just that simple. When you have nothing to hide, you're very transparent. And the problem that most of us good people have is that we're so transparent we don't know what to look for. So that's the goal of this video, is to give you some signs and help of how can you spot these double lives that these narcissists, sociopaths do. Why do they do it? They do it because they want adoration. They want admired. They go through their the processes of completely draining somebody of all their energy. And this girl that he was dating and engaged to was just at her wit's end of, they're in therapy, they're going to counseling sessions. He had brought one of the books his counselor had given him to work with on her to hear, and those were some of the questions that we were asking each other. So there are definitely signs and clues there. We just have to get ahead of the ballgame. And what I now know is that while this had happened to me, he's now single. He's still back on dating sites. He now doesn't have a fiance, so he's looking for somebody to move into the main place where he could still create a backup. And this is his cycle. Actually was able to connect the woman that he was with before the girl he's engaged to now, who he had lived with. And he actually broke up with her, gave her 3 days to get all of her stuff and move on down the road, because when they get to that stage, they completely discard you and they go into a ghosting phase, which is what his ex-fiance is going through right now. And it's very, very, very painful to watch from one woman to another, because her entire world has been devastated and she built up on her whole world on sand. And while I didn't have any emotional commitment to him or any feelings for him, it's very easy for me to move on. It's very painful to watch her go through that, and then the prior woman before that, and both of them were like, how can we get the word out there so it doesn't happen again? And the sad part is it will happen again. And the only thing you can really do is just stay transparent, make it easier, let other women know, and men, because there are women out there who are doing this to men also, that these are the steps that you need to go through to protect yourself when something isn't adding up. If something's not matching up, there is a reason, and you have a right to ask why. Don't wait until you're 2 years down the road and you've introduced them to your children and your family and you've started to build a future on them. Before you start, there are signs. I mean, both of the women that I'm talking to that were with this person before can look back in hindsight and see that there were signs there that had happened, and they just missed them. They just didn't know. And me, myself, I still can't believe how much of a production this person put on for me, in the sense of I entered his house and his entire house had been staged for my visit. He had some things in the garage, some furniture and some kids' toys, and I had asked him about that. And sure enough, he had an excuse, and he had some bunk beds in a bedroom, and I had asked him about that. Sure enough, he had a really handy excuse, so he's really good at figuring out how to lie. Lying people are. But when something doesn't add up, trust your gut, get quiet is most important. Get away from them for a little bit of time. Get quiet and listen to what your gut is telling you to do. And if you don't know what to do, reach out for help, because you're not the only one, or you're not the first one to go through this. And if he truly was who he said he was, and I checked, and word got back to him that I was checking, the only reason he would get mad at you is because the story didn't check out. If the story checked out and he found out I was checking on him, then he's just going to say, and maybe even appreciate, that I'm not one to easily give myself and give my heart. So you guys know what? I hope this helps you, and I hope this helps break the cycle or bring awareness to this festering disease that seems to be taking over the galaxy. It doesn't have to. And I hope that you know what? Right here today as you are amazing, you're smart. You were built unique and wonderful from your beginning. Don't ever forget that. Don't let anybody ever make you feel less than that. And by staying connected, because we're all connected, we can make the world a better place. So I hope you found something here useful for you. If you have, share it. Please subscribe down below. This is going to be my Insider Secret channel, so I'm going to continue to post these. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.